Why Western? Because it means that you can become self-realized even in your bedroom. There is no necessity to travel to an Eastern country. There is no necessity to attend a monastery, like a Buddhist monastery. You can become self-realized whether you are male or female. It doesn't matter your ethnicity. Age is also not important in self-realization. So when we take out all the differences, what is left is yourself. The term enlightenment has been a very powerful word for many centuries. It has been associated with the greatest messiahs, the greatest known historical figures, such as Jesus, such as Buddha and Krishna and Shiva. The term enlightenment has been greatly being associated with particularly with the Eastern traditions and philosophies. And therefore the Westerners would normally go to the East to seek enlightenment. In the Christian tradition, there is no such a word as self-realization apart from seeking God. And of course, God has been portrayed as something external, as something or someone else or higher, and therefore the Christian background is very, we can say, not so supportive for self-realization. In the East, it is more supportive cultural background. So therefore, naturally, people have been traveling to the Eastern countries where enlightenment is more known and more supportive. However, historically, things have shifted greatly in the last 50, 70 years, when the Eastern philosophies and Buddhism was coming into the West. And particularly, the biggest change happened when meditation was brought into the Western culture, together with yoga as an introduction through the physical asanas, introduction through the physical postures, introducing them into the next step of meditation. And in the last 50 and 30 years, enlightenment became more and more known in the West. And nowadays, particularly in the last 20 and 10 years, there is actually probably many more self-realized people who are Western and living in the West rather than Eastern people living in the East. So if we look at, we can find many people on their books in the bookstores. We can see on the internet and YouTube so many teachers speaking about this great topic of self-realization, enlightenment. So therefore now it has become much more known generally in the West than in the East. There is definitely a much greater interest now for the Westerners of self-realization than actually if you travel across India or Thailand or China or other countries. The Westerners have much greater interest in enlightenment than the Easterners. So this, we can say, balance has shifted. And I would say due to the Western reliance on the mind. And since the Westerners are much more inclined to rely on their minds than the Easterners, therefore it became a very interesting subject to understand for the Western mind. And of course, you know, the Western mind is very inquisitive, very curious, and so therefore it finds the answers a lot quicker. So we see now these days that the biggest enlightenment and self-realization movement is happening right now in the West. Actually, we can see that there are many more yoga and meditation studios in a big city such as New York or London than in New Delhi or in Bangkok or in Shanghai or Hong Kong. Yeah, so we will see that if we count them statistically, there's much more spiritual activity happening in the Western areas. So essentially, enlightenment has been greatly mystified. Firstly, that it is only for those greatest souls such as Buddha and Jesus and Krishna and so on, or Lao Tzu. And then it has been mystified that it's only for the East, that can Westerners do that? You know, is it possible to become self-realized while being a Westerner? So these have been the biggest questions of the 19th and 20th century. And now as we are in the 21st century, in the last 20 years, due to technology, internet availability, it has become easier than ever to not only acquire the sacred texts, or simply put books about this topic of self-realization. Now you can download it on your Kindle, you know, like 5 or 10 books right away, have them all on your device. And just with a couple of pushes of the buttons, you can immediately access enlightenment teachings right in your home on your device. So the availability has become the greatest gift to humanity, the greatest gift that the self-realization is becoming absolutely available to anyone who is interested to any slightest degree. So this is a very, very big gift to humanity. Now let's explore a couple of key questions and key topics of what is enlightenment. So essentially, enlightenment is finding your true self, finding your own self. It is not about finding somebody else, and it is not about becoming someone else. It has all to do with you and yourself. It has all to do with, very simply put, overcoming and transcending the suppressions and conditioning of belief systems, of identities, identifications. So once these belief systems and identifications are transcended and healed or deconditioned, what is left is your natural self, your natural you. What is left is the pure and boundless awareness. There is no more need to identify that I am this particular thought pattern, or I am this particular feeling in one way or another, or that I am only the boundaries of my skin, the flesh and bones, or that I am only what I understand in my head, or that I am only what I feel in my heart. Once all of these conditionings, identifications are transcended, what is left is your natural, very familiar sense that you are, that you exist, that you always existed, and that essentially you are the pure consciousness or the pure awareness itself, which is actually not touched by limitations, which is actually not touched by thoughts, whatever kind of thoughts might arise, positive, negative, happy thoughts or sad thoughts, that you're actually not touched by emotions. So in your deepest essence, it is that pure awareness which is freedom, which is liberation. It is freedom and liberation from limitations of the mind, from identifying with the feelings, from being limited by whether external or internal conditions. So it is very, very important to understand that enlightenment is all about yourself, is all about finding yourself. It has nothing to do with any idealizations. It has nothing to do with that Buddha statue that you have in your corner, probably in your living room, aesthetically pleasing and calming you. It has nothing to do with any pictures of the saints that you admire. It has all to do with you, simply with you, and finding yourself in the deepest way. So as you will understand that enlightenment is available for everyone, regardless of any traditions, religions, localities, whether you are in India or in Malta or in America or in Africa or in space, wherever you will go, it is all about you. Wherever you will go, wherever you will be, it's all about you. So therefore, my real message is that any beliefs that you may have, that is it available, is it for me, are there any special conditions required, all of these beliefs are essentially, they need to be clarified, and you need to see through them and to see how they have been limiting you or suppressing you or keeping you postponed into the next chase of happiness, the next thing, so to speak. In a practical way, what does it mean to be enlightened? It means to be being yourself. It really means to be being absolutely yourself. Feeling absolutely yourself. Knowing absolutely yourself. Meeting absolutely yourself. And living absolutely your life. So again, if you are chasing for some other life, you are limiting the potential of your own life. If you're thinking that all your problems will be resolved and suddenly you will have no problems, you will have a perfect health and all the money is gonna pour to you and all relationships will be solved and your kids will become angels. That's an illusion. That's an illusion. Yeah, it's, again, it has nothing to do with what's outside of you. So it's about becoming absolutely yourself and living absolutely your life. And simply, since you have seen through those illusions, since you have deconditioned from those limitations, you can live your life fully now. You can live your life deeply now. You can live your life totally as you are now, without, we can say, the inner suppressions, without the inner suppressions, without contradicting yourself, without opposing yourself, without thinking that you can't do this or can't do that, you should be ashamed of this or that, you should not, in all sorts of ways limiting yourself or even judging yourself. That's even worse. So you can live fully now, you can live truthfully now, you can live honestly now, you can live nakedly now, you can live absolutely in your way, in your unique way that you are. So is enlightenment realistic thing to happen to someone? Well, yes, of course it is. And it's becoming much, much easier. It's becoming much, much more available due to accessibility of not only enlightenment teachings, but also variety of teachers. And therefore, there is a known saying in Rishikesh, enlightenment shopping. that there are so many teachers teaching over there, so many meetings and satsangs happening, that the students are just hopping from one to another and seeing what are their messages. However, it is, it's good to be also a bit more dedicated than to be a window shopper, because it is all about you, and you have to take yourself more seriously than entertainment. Yes, although it's very good to explore different teachings, teachers and teachings and different ways, but you should always examine what is working for me best right now, and being dedicated, sincere, and seeing what helps you most to move forward, to come closer and closer to your natural self, to your real essence self. It is becoming more realistic than ever before, because many teachers are becoming more effective at helping others to come back to themselves, because there's no more need for any particular ceremonies or rituals or buildings such as churches or temples or monasteries. There's no more need for even now travel restrictions. Yeah, like in the past, go traveling somewhere. Now in this global situation, it's all about being where you are, which for many is actually quite healthy, to be where you are and not to jump around with the plane from one location and another, and to seek entertainment in many different ways. So many people have a lot more time right now to be where they are and to be with themselves, which is a positive side of it. So many teachers have realized that many conditions, such as buildings, rituals, ceremonies, are no more needed as well. So there must be a more direct and simpler way. And due to the increasing amount of teachers, even among the realized teachers, it is also quite interesting to see what other teachers are teaching, how they're teaching, what is their uniqueness. So when you will come to see different kinds of teachers, you will understand that they're all very unique in their own way, and therefore it is best to find someone who resonates with you and who explains you things in the most simple way, in the most understandable way, and in the most relatable way. And also to see that now one of the most empowering or a highway to enlightenment is not dedicating your life to a monastic way of living, and there's no more need to meditate for 20 years, doing the various meditation retreats such as Vipassana and so on, and it has its own benefits, of course. So there is a realization now that every meditation technique has a specific purpose. So that also really helps. And one of the greatest gifts to humanity has been levels of consciousness, because suddenly it shone the light, it illuminated that there are these steps, and at each step it's a different process, and different practices are effective, and therefore there is also another step to a more complete self-realization, until one reaches the full consciousness, or the level of 1000 of the levels of consciousness. So that has been another big gift to humanity. And the highway effect of enlightenment, self-realization, is actually a transmission. It's a consciousness transmission that literally clears your energy field, it clears your mind, it assists to quickly decondition in a very quick way, to open up the blockages. To this transmission deconditions the identity, various corners of the ego mind, and very quickly clears the path and amplifies that which is natural to you. So now we can see that historically, like 100 years ago or 200 years ago, or maybe like even 200-300 years ago, the only way you could get to meet an enlightened person is to hop on a horse. Yes, a couple of 100 years ago, just hop on a horse and maybe if you have heard it from some stories from someone, then go on a few months journey towards meeting them somewhere in remote areas, in the mountains or Himalayas or Tibet or somewhere else. So that has been a very big limitation in the past, the transportation. And then things became easier and easier and easier with the transportation, with technology, and now with the diversity and variety. If anyone has questions, feel free to ask. Just feel free to raise your hand or unmute and ask. So many of the limitations are being dissolved, and the biggest gifts have become the levels of consciousness. Another great gift is Enneagram, which really helps in the deconditioning process and finding your essence, what is more natural to you. And the biggest gift of all is the transmission itself. And again, transmissions have been offered by many enlightened teachers to their students as a gift. And due to the previous limitations, such as transportation, technology, and so on, they were very exclusive. But now the transmissions can be done even online, wherever you are. So therefore, it has never been easier in the whole human history to become self-realized. And one more important aspect as well, which is extremely supportive, is the global energetics, is the galactic energetics. It's the cycle in which we are in a new cosmic cycle, entering the golden age. So therefore, all the energies in the whole solar system are lifting up, and they're literally supporting in so many seen and unseen ways for your well-being and awakening and raising in your consciousness. So these energies have really intensified in the last 50 years, and particularly in the last 30 years, and now they're intensifying every single year. And there are many measurements done, scientific and also using kinesiology, that the whole Earth is now already, as the planet, it's already, we can say, in the enlightened state, the whole planetary energies. That the Earth energy grid is becoming more restored and pure and on a higher vibration, and the surface environment is a lot more on a higher frequency, and therefore human beings are living in the Earth as part of it, and we are receiving these amazing higher vibrational energies. So this is, I would say, the primary reason why the civilization is awakening. This is the primary reason why suddenly the people got so interested in the light, in enlightenment, and this is the primary reason why it is becoming easier and easier. So that's the cosmic energetics, and I already explained about how it has helped to remove the conditions such as transportation due to the new technologies, more the rise of the intellect and the rise of the globalism, and so transportation, internet, all of that is actually coming from higher vibrations, more connectivity, more oneness. Now, in a split of a second, you know what happened in Australia, you know what happened in Africa, just you feel whatever happened in Australia or Africa or America, you feel like it happened right here, because it's all over the news. Everything is so connected. Yeah, so as we go along further and further, it will be more and more supported for your awakening. So it hasn't been easier than ever before, and it will become easier and easier. What is the criteria for being enlightened? Willingness. Willingness, dedication, not to give up when the first challenge comes up and a second challenge comes up. So dedication, determination, but very simply put, willingness. So there is a saying, if there is the will, there is the way. Yeah, so willingness and dedication, it's all what's needed, really. And I have met so many people who have been very simple but willing, and they achieved high levels of consciousness. And I have met many smart people but who lacked willingness, and they fell back. Many intellectual, smart people, rich people who have many things in their lives, and they fell back because they didn't have one simple thing, willingness. and sticking up to it. Dedication, persistence, determination, but to summarize all of it, willingness. That's the only true requirement. So can a person become enlightened while living a regular life? As you may recognize already that yes, you can totally do what you do. You can have your relationships and family and work. You don't have to change your life, not a bit, to start finding yourself, to start coming back to yourself. You don't have to change anything in your life unless you will start feeling yourself that it's a need for a certain change, that you want to maybe move to a bit more quieter area, or you want to maybe find a little bit less mentally demanding work, or maybe your relationship has always been problematic and suppressive and abusive, so you will naturally want to improve your life as you go along. So that may happen very naturally. But I never tell anyone that you have to change this or that you can't live in a city or do this or that. I never say such things. I say it's all good as where you are, as you are. Let's just meet and work on it. That's it. Very simple. Another big question: if I become enlightened, can I still have family, friends, work, and can I still be practical in life? Because I've seen many teachers, sitting in the mountain, doing nothing, or sitting on the chair and just talking, or even just denying completely the whole world and reality. Saying there is no world, there is no reality, and there's nothing ever, everywhere, anywhere, and there's not even you. So, a very simple question: can I still live my life? Of course you can. Of course you can. And I love the Zen saying. It's very simple, that before enlightenment you were chopping the wood and carrying a buckets of water, and after enlightenment you're going to do the same thing, most likely, if you still want it. So you can still have relationships, and your relationships will greatly improve, actually, because you will no longer subscribe to abusive behaviors, to abusive language. You will have more understanding, more love, more compassion for your partner, more connection with your partner. So your relationships will improve. Your family life over time, it just takes some time, but your family life will improve, and you will have much better connection with your family, or understanding of your family, understanding of your parents, of your partner, of how they are, who they are, of their life, of their challenges, of their good sides and their bad sides. You can still have friends, and those friends who never had good interest for you, probably they will fall apart, and the real friends who truly love you, they will stay, and you will find new friendships which will be more enriching friendships, more supportive friendships, closer connected friendships. And about your work, well, you have to be practical, be realistic as well, and practical, that you do need income, you do need to pay your bills, and you still need to eat your food, and to have the roof and family money and so on. So perhaps the only natural thing that comes to see is that a highly stressful environment, a highly mental environment, might not be suitable in a long term. However, I don't, and I never say that you have to quit now and things like that. So only when you will feel that you know, maybe this desire for climbing the corporate ladder, you know, for a success achievement for your ego gratification and your social status, they might not be so interesting to you anymore. And instead of being a super stressed you know, manager or director or CEO, you might prefer to be actually a more regular employee and have much more free time, much more time with your family, and to find the right work and life balance. Yeah, so everything comes into more natural balance, and so these highly stressful situations are no longer so much preferred, and there is no more this ego need for certain, you know, gratifications, desires. So things get simplified, but actually you have more time with your family, with your friends, for yourself, and for your health. So it's a much more balanced way of living in a long run. Yeah, so you can still live absolutely your life the way it is, and just make gradual improvements if you wish. So it's absolutely okay as it is. Now, why do various enlightened teachers say many different things? Well, of course, if you go to a Buddhist tradition, you know, they will have their language. They will have their terminology, their language, their rituals, their traditions, and you will have to decipher them. I remember a long time ago, Buddhism was my big interest. But then I said, well, why is this ritual? What is it for? You know, no, I don't understand it, so I'm not interested in it. And so I wanted to truly understand, what is it for? Is it useful for me? Is it gonna help me really? So that was my approach of inquiry. And if you come to India, Indian spirituality, there will be a lot of Sanskrit language, yogic language, and in Hindu tradition, a lot of pujas and rituals and ceremonies as well. So again, you have to decipher them, understand them, and to figure out what you're truly looking for. Yeah, are you looking for a cultural experience, or are you looking for self-realization? So that's a very simple thing. So different teachers have different backgrounds. Yeah, whether a religious background, a cultural background, and then they have different you know, personalities, simply put. You know, some are more inclined towards intelligent way of explaining self-realization. Some are more inclined you know, according to actually according to Enneagram type. Each being has their own preferences. So some are more heart-centered, so they will be focused more on devotional aspect. Some are more intellect-focused, so they will be able to explain everything very clearly and easily. And there are we can say there are essentially there are two main paths. Like from the highest perspective, there is a direct path, and then there is the ascension path, energetic path. Yes, these are two biggest branches of the whole thing about spirituality, consciousness, God, self-realization. So in the direct path, it is looking directly at how can I realize my true essence quickest, most efficient way. So that's the most direct path. And the ascension path is actually a lot about energetics. It's a lot about energetic cleansing, transcendence, purification, and raising of vibration, and it involves, connectivity with the whole universe, with all the beings in the universe in all dimensions, and the goal of ascension is to well, ascend into the higher plane of existence, and that can happen through the shift of your consciousness. So therefore we have so many healers, light workers, channelers, and all sorts of things which are so exciting and confusing at the same time. So that has to do with the whole universe and with the universal structure, and raising your vibration to match a higher frequency. So that's all about ascension. And as I said, it's so exciting and so confusing and so on. So it's a very big subject. But if you are interested in enlightenment and self-realization, there's a direct path. And that's what it's all about. And just a couple of more questions. Why there are not so many enlightened people? Well, there are more and more. It's becoming easier and easier and easier. So really just we have so many students who are at higher levels of consciousness, and it's just becoming more and more supportive due to all the conditions and that we have supportive circumstances that we have spoken about. So it's becoming a lot more common. And when it comes to the physical body, what happens after enlightenment? Well, actually, your physical body just relaxes more, and that's it. Your body relaxes more because it's no longer being suppressed. It doesn't have to keep anymore so many heavy emotions. It doesn't have to feel stressed anymore because the mind is, constantly bothering you. So your physical body just relaxes more. And that's all. Does it change your health? Maybe. It depends how you have lived your life. It depends on how you have lived your life. It depends on your genetics. And of course, if you are taking care of your physical body throughout your spiritual journey, and for example, becoming vegetarian, so that you are lighter and easier, is digesting much quicker, and you're not ingesting, antibiotics and all these chemicals and so on. So yeah, your health will improve due to those reasons, that you will change your diet, that you will eat more healthy, that you will spend more time with your body, in your body, and supporting your body. So that's how your health will improve. But if you become self-realized tomorrow, your body is still the same. It's just more relaxed because there's not so much mental, psychological, emotional heaviness anymore. So your body is much more at ease, much lighter, and much more enjoyable, actually. And will you become immortal, living forever? Not the body, no. Not the body. Your body has its own way. It's gonna live its own way, and it will pass on its own accord, the physical body itself. But the biggest question is you. Who are you? And therefore, once you see that you are the eternal pure awareness, then you will know that you never die, that you were never born and you will never die, and you always existed. and there's no more fear about the bodily existence or the bodily garment. There's no more fear that for these 80 years I'm wearing this particular beautiful bodysuit, and then I will just drop it and exist as I always was and as I always will. And perhaps my just focal point will shift into another bodily form, the focal point itself, in the next lifetime. But however, as the true essence and identity, you are this pure awareness shining through everything and everywhere. And only in this instant, in this life, so to speak, you are more focused through this particular body, through this particular form. And it's okay, it's beautiful, unique experience, this lifetime. Challenging in its own ways, but beautiful in its own ways too. And as the pure awareness, and then as soon as this garment wears out, you will receive another one. So don't worry about that. How do I know that? Because I can see so many forms around. There are so many insects. There are so many plants who have consciousness. Actually, there are so many animals. There are so many human beings. There are so many cosmic bodies and other non-human beings. The whole universe is absolutely packed with life, and therefore you can rest assured that there will be a next one because there is so many, so plenty. And so that's the nature of consciousness. That's the nature of this pure being, to experience the multiplicity. Yeah, so you can rest assured that the whole universe is still gonna be here, and you will experience it just in a different way. And most likely, since you have came to your self-realization according to the natural laws, the next lifetime will be more conscious lifetime. So most likely you will not fall back into being an animal again, or this or that again. More likely you will become someone or something else which is supportive of even higher consciousness and higher vibration. And that's most likely thing to happen according to the natural laws of the universe. So just relax. There's nothing really to worry about in the large sense, and self-realization, enlightenment is the most beautiful thing that can happen to you in this lifetime, and actually in many lifetimes if we speak about past lives and so on. But it's the most beautiful thing of this lifetime for sure, and you truly start living fully, absolutely, when you come to rest as the pure awareness. So now let's spend some time just to relax into all that you have received today, and please take what resonates with you, and that which you don't understand, leave it for later. Just leave it there. No need to think about it or worry about it or try to figure it out. Just take what you take, what resonates, what sits with you, and leave the rest. And now let's do a simple natural meditation just to relax into yourself. So take a few moments to slow down and to slow down any activity. Slow down any activity to feel your natural breath, which is always assisting, always here. And to feel the natural space around in which your breath is happening, in which your body is sitting, in which everything is felt, and emotions or feelings or energies. Just to recognize that there is this natural space here. And there is also a natural, effortless awareness here as well. You don't have to focus on awareness or to focus on something, because it's effortlessly, naturally here already. And allow everything to relax. Allow everything to fall, just like a feather is falling in the air. Like a feather is swinging in the air. Allow everything in you just to swing and fall into relaxation and effortlessness. You only need perhaps some effort to calm down, slow down, and relax. So allow everything to fall like a feather, to fall into this natural present space, which is alive, naturally aware, naturally present. The natural space is naturally open, naturally accepting, naturally unconditional. Allow everything to fall like a feather swinging in the air. You can feel that everything is gentle like a feather. Soft. As you slow down, everything is relaxing more and naturally falling into itself, into completion, and falling into the present natural space, which is alive. It is your space. That's where you are, and that's actually what you are or who you are if you don't think for a moment. If you don't think for a moment, you are already the present, natural, alive and aware space. And only when you start focusing on something or thinking about something, then you contract. Your attention contracts, and suddenly you feel that you're something smaller, you have contracted. But you can also then again relax and allow again your focus to fall effortlessly like a feather, and allow again to forget your thoughts, to forget your feelings, to forget energies, and to fall back into the natural open space, present space. That's when you're most open. That's when you are not defined, not limited. That's when you're free. And that's when this pure light of awareness shines through everything. So this is a very beautiful meditation. It's a very beautiful practice that can be done anytime as a way to deeply relax into your present natural self. And the only challenge that can come up is your, accumulated energies, your accumulated emotions, your accumulated thoughts, accumulated stresses and strains. That's the only challenge that there can be. However, this simple meditation will always help you to relax deeper into your essence, to get in touch closer with yourself, and to widen or relax your attention into a wider openness and awareness. So this natural space, openness, awareness is always present, and it is your access. It is available, always present here. And you can know that you can always return to it and always come back into your natural self. And as you come back and come back more often to your natural self, you will feel that it will get easier and easier, that it will become more and more familiar to be your natural self. And you will feel that it's pretty not interesting anymore to be so much engaged in the thoughts. It's not interesting anymore to be so engaged with emotions. It's not interesting anymore to be so engaged with energies. So you would only do that willingly, we can say. You would only do that if you want to, but you don't have to. It becomes a choice. It becomes anything to do with thoughts, emotions, and energies becomes optional. It's a choice. And the only reason that if it would be difficult is if you would need to balance too many thoughts, too many emotions, too many energies. It's only then you need some effort to balance and heal so that you can again return to your natural self, this present, alive space which is naturally open and aware, effortlessly aware. When I speak of awareness, it is not that you have to focus on awareness and keep yourself trained in it or you know, concentrated on it. No, it's not how you become awareness or keep awareness. It's not through concentration or focus. You actually need to relax your concentration and focus, because awareness beautifully is already effortlessly here. I understand that at first you might need a bit of reminder to focus on awareness, so that you remind your mind to come out of the world of thoughts and feelings and energies. So it can serve you as a reminder. But as you practice more and more, you realize that you only need to relax the mind and emotions and energies, to withdraw yourself away from them, unless you still find them very amusing, entertaining, or confusing. And then you still need to withdraw away so that you can say rest as effortless awareness. So it's a certain process that takes place, and this is a very beautiful meditation to assist you with that. You can remember this meditation as a resting as the feather in the air, or falling as the feather in the air. Yeah, so relaxing as the feather in the air. Yeah, that's you can remember this meditation as such, relaxing as the feather in the air.
So you spoke about the two paths of ascension and self-realization, and I feel they're very connected, more so than what you explained. So I feel both are happening.
Yes.
So I don't. What's my question? Is it possible both can happen, and am I?
Yes. So of course, yes. For many people, they both happen. And again, the only advice is to notice what is happening. So if you're drawn into, let's say, channelings and light work, energy work, and so on, you need to understand that that has to do with the global ascension, with your personal ascension. It's not so much with self-realization as such. So many things in ascension work can be in terms of the universal maintenance, so to speak, in the universal matters, so to speak. Yeah, so that's what they are, helping other sentient beings, raising global consciousness. Of course, they're very important things. And so that's one. The other thing is, yes, that for majority of people, it does involve some energy work. Actually, for all the people, there is definitely some energy work involved in it, because there is some healing to be done, and there are some, energies to be healed and then taken care of, and to learn some techniques and meditations, to learn various techniques for many purposes of how to live more harmoniously. Yeah, so they're very supportive in terms of self-realization. Many ascension, techniques, although we could say, I call them also generally energy work. So certain energy work is supportive to the direct path of self-realization. The direct path of self-realization is not a mental path either. It's not that you can sit down and question yourself, who am I, until you die, until you get the answer. No, it's always a meditative practice. So Ramana was always saying that this inquiry, who am I, is for those who have already done some yoga, meditation, and other preparational work, who can go deeply inside and meditate upon it and contemplate meditatively upon it. So that was his message about the direct path of self-inquiry. The direct path of non-duality or Advaita, again, it's not, in its essence, it's not philosophical. It's not about philosophy, although many people now treat it as philosophy, as Advaita philosophy, non-duality philosophy, but that's not the real purpose. The real purpose is to explain the process of self-realization, but not treat it as a mere philosophical, intellectual understanding. So therefore, it is a path of meditation. It is a path of deep inquiry, and there is some energy work involved in it.
You mentioned a sacred text or a collection of sacred texts, and I was wondering if maybe they would assist us in our journey, and if so, is there any techniques that you would suggest to go beyond the words, so it's not just like a mental, sort of thing?
Yes. In one of the kung fu movies, in the martial arts, movies, there was the most sacred temple. And in that most sacred temple, there was the most sacred artifact that the most advanced Kung Fu master was guarding. And he was guarding this artifact with the deepest Kung Fu knowledge. He was guarding it for the student who is truly ready for it. And the most eager student faced the biggest challenge of the other, you can say, the dark student or the negative student. So they underwent a big war with each other. Who will get access to this most guarded, most valuable Kung Fu knowledge? And in the final battle, as the good guy has defeated the bad guy, when he proved his worth, he came into the temple, and the master greeted him and gave him the box. And he opened that box and he saw a mirror in it. And that was the most guarded, most secret, and highest knowledge of the Kung Fu martial art. So in the same way, I saw that you got very interested in the word sacred text. And the most sacred text is the present pure awareness. Your present awareness is the most sacred text. That will save you a big journey of trouble and fighting to give you right away the most sacred knowledge that what you truly seek for, and that the ultimate thing is your own present awareness.
It's about the willingness. In effect, you can say that you cannot really do anything to become enlightened.
Who says that?
That's what I believe.
Or you heard it somewhere, isn't it? I don't think you believe, you heard it somewhere.
I heard it somewhere, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's by grace that it can happen, by the grace of God. Can you say that...
Again, you read it somewhere, heard it somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it happens by grace of God, and you can't do it. You see, you have already two conditionings here.
Two conditionings. And it's always possible that there's like a slide and you can straight go into it. But do you think...
also a third idea.
I have a lot of ideas.
Oh yes, you do.
Is it so that that you can reach a bottom, that you're really ready with the world and you only want enlightenment, and there's a limit to the suffering? Is it needed that you reach a bottom?
That's a fourth idea, that you have to reach the total bottom to get enlightened, or some say you have to reach the total darkness and you know the biggest pain to break through and be enlightened. That's a fifth idea. So my answer to you, you have already 5 conditionings to work upon.
Yeah.
And if you get rid of those ideas, you will be much closer to yourself, because they are suppressive ideas. These ideas have certain meaning in your mind, and they have certain distance, and they created a certain distance from yourself. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 have inspired you in the past, and maybe 1 or 2 of these ideas have assisted you to meet your challenging places in you. So they have served their purpose at that time as an inspiration and moral, psychological support. But right now, they're the 5 conditionings to overcome.
Only 5, yes.
That's more if we continue talking.
Thank you.
So we have to really examine what we think about self-realization, what we think about enlightenment, what we think about what that is or what that's supposed to be. And therefore you have to unlearn now all of these things. You have to unlearn to see that this idea of reaching the bottom is actually, we can say, psychologically pushing you to the bottom. So is it really helping you out? Probably no longer, no more. Yeah, so the same way with others. They have helped you at certain time, at certain point, but now it's time to unlearn them, get rid of them. Because you just want to be open and free. You don't have to go to any bottom. You don't have to break your psychological system, to become free. You have to actually soften it and soothe it and heal it so that you become free. There is no monster to meet, in the deepest, darkest cave. These are all movies and ideas, and fears, and so on. So that just simplify all of it. Really, really simplify and examine very closely which idea does what to you truly. Just break it down to absolute simplicity and see is it helping you really or not. That's how you need to approach it. Is it helping you or not? And that's the complication that that whenever Buddha was speaking, he already knew that people will make a philosophy out of it. He already knew that people will misinterpret him, and he already knew that he said, don't worship my picture. And guess what happened? Now Buddha is in every single home and in every single corner. And it's not even his real face anyways. It became just a symbol. So Jesus said, don't mention my name without a good reason. And my goodness, what the Westerners did with his name. It became a bad word, in the bad language, for many people. So, anyway, so what people do, it's up to them, really. But that's the danger, we can say, that in every teaching or in every meeting with the self-realized being, there's also always a possibility of misinterpretation. Yes, and my approach is to be open and to clarify everything that anyone wants to know, because you can also easily assume, just by looking at me, that someone may start assuming that they will become like me, and that they will have qualities like this being has, or maybe some people start growing the beard thinking that that's the way. I don't know what people assume and think about, and so my approach is just, let's clarify it all. Any question you have, anything that you're confused about, let's just clarify it all and make no assumptions. Because, as I said right from the beginning, it's all about you. It's all about you and coming back to your own natural self. And that's why it's good to very closely examine any idea, any belief, any association, any idealization. Is it helping you? Is it supporting you right now? Maybe it was in the past, but it became the past. And right now is fresh and new, and check your past, what you still carry. So if something is helpful, if something was helpful yesterday, it doesn't mean that it's helpful today. And that's a big thing. That's when Buddha said that I am like the river, and the river is never the same again. It's always new and fresh and different in a way. So if a particular meditation and practice was very helpful for the last 5 years or 2 years or last 1 month, it doesn't mean that it's gonna be helpful right now and for the future anymore. So you have to constantly examine yourself, constantly double check yourself, constantly put yourself in the clear mirror of now. Constantly put yourself in the clear awareness of now, in this clear, what I call mirror of now, to see that what you see in the mirror of now, if you know what you feel, what you think, what you do, is it still helping you to become more natural and more of your self, more of your real self, natural self, free self, spontaneous self, effortless self. And that's generally called deconditioning. That's what it truly means, as a big name. Okay, that was a good one. That was a good question. And as I said, my invitation is, let's clarify. You have some questions, let's clarify that.
Okay, so you asked had somebody needed clarification, and for me, I suppose I do. You know, a very big opening in the final session in the online retreat, a very big restfulness into effortless awareness, much deeper than before. And it was really, really present for about 3 days after. You'd be hoping it would stay around forever, Mindo. But you know, it didn't really. But I feel that I would nearly call it a muscle just for now. But there's a strength. There's definitely a strength to slip. Mm-hmm. You had this before with me about 2 months ago, Idel. Watch how you slip out of awareness. And I'm really, really got a strength in that, seeing the slip now. Mm-hmm. I haven't had the easiest 2 weeks since the online retreat. Physically, I'm in a bit of pain. And some other little, I can't remember them now, turbulences came. And yeah, so I'm noticing a lovely, big, fat strength, right? It's so strong for me in this awareness. I mean, it is literally as I close my eyes, it's just there, you know? I suppose I wanted to ask you about an experience I had last night, and to kind of get a clarification about this, because this awareness, I see it's just so effortless. It's so here, you know, all of you and other teachers. I did do some shopping and they're all saying the same thing. It's simple, it's here, it's effortless. It's so true. But I've been watching this very beautiful series on Jesus Christ's life. Very beautiful. It's called The Chosen. I highly recommend it. And it's having a very profound effect on me. And I don't know whether it's because now it's Diwali, it's some new moon. When I went to bed last night, I honestly thought Jesus Christ was coming through my chest, or the Holy Spirit. It was very, very powerful, this brightness in my being. And yeah, I know you're good at this, so I just wanted to check in. It's very beautiful to be connecting, I suppose, into Christ a bit more. You know, I'm always about Krishna and, you know, that devotional path. And, but yeah, I don't want to detract myself into energetics. I want to strengthen awareness.
Yes. So this experience, yeah, you can, as you said, this beautiful light came through, and what is known, it's also called the Christ consciousness, it is actually we are ascending into the higher frequency, higher vibration as a whole, as a whole earth, as a whole civilization. And those who are more open can more easily access the higher dimensions and higher connections. And Jesus, the Christ, Jesus was the person, the body, the Christ. He was embodying the Christ. So now, since he left the body, he's the Christ. So the Christ is what its true meaning is, as he said, the light of, or the spark of God, the spark of divine. It's the Son, and the Father is God, and the Christ is the Son. So it's this pure spark of light, and it's the ultimate perfection of being. So essentially, the teachings of the Christ and Ascension is to perfect oneself and to transcend the human nature. But that's a much more bigger task than self-realization. Generally, it's a lifelong task. It will never end, the perfecting of oneself. So you had this big experience, and now you said, okay, so there are these wonderful big experiences, and now there is the strengthening of awareness, and ultimately it comes to being in awareness as awareness, and then perfecting oneself, we can say so, or ascending oneself, or just saying perfecting oneself. And that's a natural evolution. So as many saints were saying of the past, the Buddha was saying, be aware of the Maya, and Shiva was always portraying, be aware of the snake, and Ramana was saying, keep your focus on the self. So this, or any other teacher would say, be vigilant, or how do you say it? So essentially, always keep your focus on awareness, on the self, in a soft way, in a natural way, and then continuously, moment to moment, you can have this intention to perfect yourself, to continue transcending, healing, opening, and ascending, because that is very supportive, and it's happening quite naturally everywhere. And if you just have that intention, then you will continuously be on your most optimal path in terms of the universal scale. So it's nothing wrong to have any amazing experiences, as long as you know who you are, you abide in yourself, and then enjoy these amazing experiences. Just why not? There's nothing wrong with them. They're amazing, and it's totally fine.
You started this satsang with you can even have enlightenment in your bedroom. All these experiences have happened in my bedroom. So I really laughed when you said that sentence, really remembering my big opening 2 weeks ago. Can I just clarify something, right? Perfection. I didn't know we could go for human perfection. I thought we'd accept all our fufas. Is Christ himself perfection in a human form? As in, am I saying that right? Yeah.
Well,
just my question on this on perfecting, yes, which I know you said is stabilizing awareness. and then there's this perfecting, which feels like a curve.
The Christ is the original blueprint of the perfect human being, the Christed self, it's called. So that's the original blueprint, and we can say in the highest form it is the light body, which is absolutely perfected, the body of light, or the eternal body, as Jesus was saying, or the heavenly body. And in this lifetime, we can say we are bridging the gap between the humanness, being human, and bridging the gap between heaven, between this heavenly body. And therefore, firstly, you need to truly perfect your humanness. That's the first step. To truly perfect your humanness, to truly understand that it's okay to be human, first of all, to have no judgment upon yourself, to have no resistance being yourself, to have no judgment for your body and having the body and being in the body. So you have to perfect your humanness, to be a real human being, just to be exactly as you are, any feeling comes up. If you feel, just last week I had a meeting with someone and he had a question that, since I am now in this higher consciousness, can I be angry? And I said, of course. If anger comes to you, let it come. Just don't fuel it, don't subscribe to the story of it and don't fuel it. But if it comes, let it come. There's no problem. The circumstances, may come up, may bring it up, and it's totally fine. And it was about relationship and marriage and so on. So it's if it comes up, it comes up, and it's fine. And even to kind of support the statement is the story of Ram Dass and Neem Karoli Baba, and it's known that in this great sage's ashram in India, Neem Karoli Baba, that sometimes he would really shout at some of his devotees and some of the members there. Well, why? Because they would not understand or do something not accordingly. So even though he was this big love, but he was never afraid to raise his voice. And it's the same story with Jesus, that he came into the church yard and he saw all these stalls and market in front of the church, and he just bashed it, and that was his unconditional love. And the same stories are with Buddha and so on. So first you have to really be human and to really perfect your humanness, to absolutely acknowledge yourself the way you are, and then out of that absolute acknowledgement of who you are and the way you are, that's how you transcend it. That's how you raise above and become what's called a divine human. Yeah, so you're still human, but then you become divine human or perfected human. So that's how it goes, and therefore you have zero resistance to being human and no judgment of being the way you are or the way someone else is, and that's the real unconditional love. And through that true unconditionality is how these higher qualities emerge of total unconditionality, of acceptance, non-judgment, humility, and compassion, and so on. So that's the whole process from the humanness, we can say rising above, but it means not skipping. Not skipping your humanness, it's embodying your humanness. and rising above it. Yeah, or we can say mastering your humanness and rising above.